Okay.
It's a Shure.
Oh yes, yes. Shores are beautiful things, man.
Uh, fucking
I'm on
cost me an arm and
a
a leg, but I love it. I love it. It's my favorite mic I've ever owned.
Yeah, shores are amazing. I have a few, man. I know, we're getting to learn a little bit about each other because we've only been, live a few times with each other, but my family has a little background in music, and my uncle gave me a bunch of mics, and
Word?
there were a bunch of Shure mics in there, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
snap,"
yeah, yeah. Shure's a shit.
I learned a lot about them from that, especially for instruments, like if you're
Oh yeah.
capturing
No, no, no.
brass or
They got a mic for everything.
oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah,
one's for
yeah.
broadcast. The one that I've got here, this is the broadcast
Is
mic,
that
but they've got
let me ask you a question. Is that the Joe Rogan mic?
the SM7B, bro.
You see Joe Rogan, he's always
Oh,
talking
he's got
into
it.
it.
He's got it.
Yeah,
This is it.
yeah.
It's a SM7B. Everybody that does like real like quality you want, you know, that's what you buy.
Yeah, for sure.
Although there
It
are a ton of companies out there that make just good microphones in general. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. No, it's a great mic because it's very forgiving in a room environment. That's the difference. Because if you're, let's say you and I go, oh, let's record on like a $10,000 Neumann microphone, you know,
Oh yeah.
that's a
Yeah, but if
different
we ain't if
story.
we ain't got the acoustics in the room,
Right,
it's worthless.
right, right. It's pointless. It's like, what's the point in this? We wasted our money. I'm on this is an Audio Technica. I don't
Okay.
remember the model, but I bought this in probably late 90s, 98, 99, and it cost me like $500. So it
That's all
was
you
the
need.
it was the jam at that time. And then I have an AKG
Oh yeah, I got some
P
AKGs too. I got
P120 over here floating around.
where's my AK? Hold on, where's my AKG? Hold on.
I love AKGs, man.
Here, I got one of these too. Let me see if I can bring it over here and you can see it. Can you see that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. That's very similar to mine. Is that
This
a
is the
120?
I think it's a 120, but this is the
Yes.
Perception series.
Yes, yes.
This is the 120 Perception
Those are great
series.
mics, bro.
This one right here, she's old, but bro, like if I put it, like the last time I took it somewhere, I went to this. Holy fuck, I'm getting stuck on everything. I went to where the fuck did I go, man? It was I think it was a guitar center or whatever, and I was like, hey man, can I just test my mic? I want to get a gauge for like how it's gonna sound if I'm in a pretty decent room. Thinking about buying the
Yeah.
the padding and all this shit, and he goes, oh yeah, dude, come here. And he's like, here, man, plug it in here, and he puts it in this one of the most expensive setups he has, right? Of course, because why not? Sets it all up for me, and I go in there and we just do a couple lines recording, talking shit like me and you are. And bro, it was magic.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They got
It
a
was
good
magic.
setup in there. They know how to sell shit well. They got a
Oh
good,
yeah, the motherfuckers ain't playing with
yeah.
you. You know what I'm saying?
And
Like when
it's
I
a
went to go
small
get
room, but
this.
it works. Yeah.
Oh no, when I went to get this right here, the guy I was like, you don't gotta sell me, bro. I know I want it. I'm just, and he goes, okay, okay, okay. I mean, do you want me to get it now? And I was like, well, I mean, do you have one set up? I just want to hear it. And he goes, oh yeah, bro, come here. Grabs one, like one of the little displays, gets the mic, takes me over, puts me in the room too.
Yeah,
Because I had my
yeah,
mic, obviously. I had my AKG. I was like, this
yeah,
is a dope
yeah.
mic,
You
bro.
wanted
You
to
know what
do
I
an
mean?
A/B test.
Yeah, yeah. So like I
Yeah,
already had it there and I heard what it sounded like. It sounded fucking great. But when I played with this one, I was like, damn.
yeah, yeah. It's that top capsule coming down. There's a lot of good. It's a great
I got
mic. Great mic.
yeah, this you know what kills me? It's like you can put this any way you want. I mean, this is how I use it because this is the shitty little arm I bought from. I mean, I don't know if you can even see it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. It's a what is
this little
that?
shitty arm I got it like
The
off Amazon for like I think it was like $10.
razor. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It's like $10. And I was like, fuck it. It's cheap and the attachment works. It's just not perfect.
You know what I saw, man? That the company came out with a sleeve that goes over that because you know how it has like you have two bars there. So they made
Yeah.
a sleeve that goes over it, and it gave me an idea of like, yo, we could be branding our podcast there. You could have, the real Noslin or something, or you could have, the name of the podcast there. And I was like, oh, because you see that, it's
Yeah.
so depending on the show, it's so on the screen, right?
Yeah, yeah. You buy the cap and that's it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
on it, bro. Like if somebody's looking at the cap of my but that would mean I'd have to have the mic facing somewhere in that vicinity, to show them like, hey, I've got,
Right, right, right. I mean, your setups, a little different because you have it sort of, you're doing that low, that lower thing. But when you see setups like this where you have this huge thing, up in the screen, it's a different story. Yeah. But either way,
Yeah, that's why I try and put that's why I mean, like, there's if I had my choice,
yeah.
I would have it to where it's extended out like this and coming around, and then
But
I'd be, in a different frame, but based on, like, the room I have in this little place of mine, I put myself in this little spot.
I see you rocking some AKG headphones over there. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, you see
Am I
these
correct?
shits?
Those are classics, bro. Those are legendary. Any AKG headphone with the gold like that?
These are the K240s,
Yeah, I've got a few.
2021 edition, because these
Uh
just came out. I don't think they brought out anything this year yet, but
I have a set somewhere, man. And
yeah, these are my favorite ones.
yeah.
Over the ear, very comfortable. The piece up here, the actual, your headrest piece, it's got a pretty decent cushion. It's not like the other ones where they're like kind of hard. It's more of like a vinyl-y soft piece, and then the the braces they're
Oh,
great, man.
it's one of the most comfortable. It's designed. You can tell that the AKG series with the gold, they're
Yeah,
designed for long-term studio use. So if you're going in to do 8 hours, 10 hours recording, certain headphones like the ones I'm wearing now, these things are crushing me. These are CADs. I got these, with a little setup or whatever, and they crush my skull by the end of like 2 hours. I'm like, oh God, But those AKGs, pure comfort. You could tell someone designed it. They're looser on the ears.
yeah,
Like you said, that strap, the way everything lays on your head, it's like the perfect long-term use set. Like I'm gonna be in for hours today. I need my
yeah.
AKGs.
Hell yeah. So, let's do this. Let's start to record.
No
I
doubt.
think I think we I think we figured out pretty much that we're gonna vibe regardless. So that was the main
Yeah,
thing. I
yeah,
always like to
yeah.
talk to somebody and like figure things out, because I mean, I don't know, man. Shows are shows, right? But it's working.
They're weird. They're weird, man. It depends on who you
I'm
got.
excited, man.
Me
Fucking
too.
got,
Me too,
Frankie
bro.
Hoover's in the building,
hovers, hovers,
chilling,
hovers. Hold up.
hovers.
Are we recording right now?
Are we recording? Yeah. So Frankie hovers. I met you through Am. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I know that's what I call him. I know it's I am, but I just call him Am because he wears the hat and he always has just the AM on it.
That's right. Yeah, because people call him Am in the streets. Yo, Am, what up, Am?
Yeah. That's just dope, man. I got one of the shirts. It's if you're not tuned into the AM FM,
That's
I bought,
right.
I bought the I bought the hoodie. I was like, I need that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's kind of a merch god. He's known for always rolling around with some merch. It's one of the things I admired about him when he came around a lot. In the older days, they were big on their merch.
I think merch in general is like one of those staples of hip hop that a lot of people, they fail to, like, take on. You know what I'm saying? I think they don't realize that that was part of the culture itself, right? The clothing that came out of it. I mean, for me anyway. Because I remember, growing up, I was a, teenager in the 90s. So I got to see like all the, the big bands when they came out, you know what I'm saying? The Wu-Tangs, the fucking the Nas's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
getting to see Wu-Tang more than one time in my lifetime has been, bro, bucket list.
Oh, I've done that. I've done that a
You know
few
what I'm
times.
saying?
Yeah,
Bucket list,
yeah.
bro. Where I was like, I didn't think I was gonna see this. One of my favorite ones though was Smith and Wesson.
Mm-hmm.
I went all the way out to Soundset in Minnesota. Shout out to the homie Dispute One. You know what I'm saying? Stress the Mad Hatter, Ken C, all these dope local Minnesota artists that I hung out with, man. It was the fucking best, bro. But when we went to the fucking tent that had Smith and Wesson, bro. Me and bro, I got pictures. It's on my Instagram somewhere, but uh me and Dispute One, bro, we got as close as we possibly could and just, bro, vibed. That shit was crazy. Just listening to all the old
Yeah,
songs, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Done live, because that was literally the first time I got to really see them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, check, that one's off the bucket
yeah,
list.
yeah. That's a
Like I
bucket
was saying
list
before.
artist for
You know what
sure.
I'm saying?
And the thing
And
too, Noslin, is that their music is engineered for the club.
yeah,
That's the thing we got to remember. They They make their music in the studio, they bring it out to the whip,
Yeah.
and then the next place that it has to sound good is in the club, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I've been fortunate to see them all live. I saw Sean Price, I saw Boot Camp.
What? You got to see Sean Pete?
I did, man. And it was crazy because at the end of the show, he stands there with his chest out and the crowd goes crazy. He don't do nothing. And then you start hearing chants, Sean P,
Oh
Sean
my
P.
god.
The crowd, bro. And he stands there and he does this like Superman pose, bro. And girls are going crazy. Guys are going nuts, man. It's the most amazing. It was a really amazing show, man.
Fucking surreal, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
to
yeah.
to see him like, do these kind of things. I still
Cause
it sucks, man. I never got to see him, bro. I definitely wanted to. Unfortunately he died before I could. You know what I mean? I just
I got to
sad,
see
man.
him
Sad.
late, I got to see him late also, man. It wasn't a This was like in the last, maybe 10 years of his
Wow.
life. But again, bucket list, like you said. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, I got to check this off my list. Wow, and it was so I've seen them several times, man. The whole boot camp clique. I
Yeah.
actually, and not to brag and boast a little bit, but I do a little sound engineering, right? And we're known for doing some of the bigger clubs and some of the bigger tours that come in. And I was
Yeah.
actually fortunate enough to do sound for Buckshot when he came
What?
through. So he was doing
Damn, that must have been dope. BDI, bro.
bro, he's the shortest little dude, bro, but with the biggest soul. And he got a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of love, man. Like he's just very grateful to be a part of hip hop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was so excited. And he had like at the time, the radio station was called 102 Jams. So he had
Okay.
a 102 Jam shirt on. And I had
What?
the Realm Z shirt because that was the name of our sound company, Realm Z.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
came up to us and he's like, yo, that shirt's dope, man. And he's like, you're my sound guy, right? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. He goes, I only knew because they told me to look for the shirt. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's working. The merch is working because we were
Yeah, the
talking
merch
about
is
merch
working.
earlier.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, and it was just funny to see him so humble. But man, when
Yeah.
this little dude, bro, because he has no qualms about that he's under 5 feet tall or whatever.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
gets
yeah.
up on that stage, bro. He's 9 feet tall. He's
Hell yeah.
9 feet tall. He's smashing the stage down by himself. That was crazy to see. No DJ, no nothing. He just went up there, put an instrumental on, and the way he, his flow sort of weaves in and out, man. Just
Yeah.
an amazing set, man.
Yeah, Buckshot's a dope MC, man. You know, Duck Down, records. I can't believe that they're still around too. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They've been around for a hot minute, man. They had the Fab Five,
Wow.
obviously Black Moon, Helter Skelter. I
Oof.
mean,
Oof.
and
Wow.
then if you wanna go after that, then we could talk about um, Action Bronson. We
Mm-hmm.
could talk about Alchemist,
You,
working with them
you know
too.
what I remember so vividly as you're saying this? The
Yeah,
album covers. Remember the yellow album covers? And with
Yellow Album.
it
Yeah,
was a yellow album cover and it had like this caricature. It was a head with the record cutting the hair off. I don't know if you remember this, man, but this was like some DJ shit.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I always remember because that's how you knew it was like one of that. It was someone coming from were they on Tommy Boy for a little while? I feel like that was no Nervous Records.
Nervous,
Nervous Records.
nervous.
Nervous Records. If you get a chance, look that up. That's such an iconic like caricature cartoon
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Good times there, man.
But think about this: the evolution of how records and people have come out, right, over all the years. Think of it like this: so we went from this like very visual artistry. You know what I'm saying? Like they would even get the graffiti guys like and come in, yo, come do some art. I mean, that's how they got the Wu-Tang emblem, right? The dude did graffiti, came in, started drawing some shit, drew the wrong thing, then finally got it right, and that's what they used, right? Think about it, man.
It's true. It's
You
true.
know what I'm saying?
You know,
Like those little things that were all very iconic back then. All the album covers were dope as fuck, usually drawn by artists that they knew. You know what I mean? Like shit that was, they didn't go out and find some company to draw it up. They found somebody who knew how to draw that they knew, and they got them to do that shit,
that's
bro. A,
deep.
a good example of that's like the Atlians album cover. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah, yeah. See now
That was
that
drawn by a local
But
artist.
here's the thing: the Atlian's cover taps into a very southern airbrush style.
You
If
seen
you
it?
really look at it,
Yes. Yes,
it's and
bro.
that's something
Exactly.
very southern, right? When you get
Yeah.
northern, you get more of a can, you get more of a spray can style. So it's interesting that you bring that up because them being from Brooklyn, you have the Bronx there. These are the mecca This is the mecca of graffiti.
Hell yeah.
And you have to think, right? Like back then, there was no Instagram. Back then, it was harder to get your message out than it
Yeah.
is now, right? So
Of
one way
course.
would be through graffiti. Like what rapper wouldn't want to be immortalized in a piece? You
Oh
know,
yeah.
so like let's say Who Got the Props by Buckshot,
Yeah.
Black
Hmm.
Moon, right?
Yeah.
Um, who got the props spray painted on the side of a subway going by or on a wall in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
That's the best advertisement a rapper could ever ask for. Thousands of people a day walking by a sign that says "Who got the props" with graffiti, and it says
Hmm.
in the bottom where to kind of find them and listen. In a time where there was no Instagram, no MySpace, no computer, really,
Yeah.
Napster didn't even fucking exist. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
yet, anyway.
Yeah, it was on the verge. It was on the verge.
But that's one of those things that I keep saying. It's like, the evolution of hip hop has been probably the coolest thing I've gotten to see over time, right? Because I remember being a young kid in the '80s, and listening to Big Daddy Kane, listening to Kumo D, listening to what was this guy's name now? Oh my god, man. Uh Holy shit.
80s.
J. Rue the Damager. Okay.
Such a
Really,
great
really,
artist.
really old school shit, right? So
Really
like that
good
was my
artist.
so like growing up listening to that shit, late '80s, early '90s, it was a big adjustment for me because all these dudes had the original slow flow, right? And then, and they were all from New York and shit. And then when the newer guys, right, in the early '90s started coming out, and you're like, yo, this flows like, a little faster, but still the same message, like, talking about the streets, talking about the problems that they're having, having to deal drugs to make it, all this kind of shit, right? And that common theme from the storytelling back then to what it's become now, a lot of, I want to say, a lot of the traditionalists, right, in hip hop, because I think that's a thing, right? Like the traditionalists, all the guys that respect, the backpackers, respect all the vibes that hip hop has, right? And then there's the people that only like the new shit, right? They're only focused on that. Like it's usually a younger crowd, right? We've talked about this on my show before, but the fact that like the younger crowd shows limited respect, and I think that's kind of fucked up, right? To the people that came before them and some of the pioneers. And we've debated this a lot, like to say who is the better judge of character. Is it us because we grew up through the golden era, or is it the young kids that are trying to build something new? And I say like this: I try and be a Switzerland here, right? I want to be neutral, and I say, well, the young kids have their vibe and what they're trying to push, and then there's all the traditional guys, right? Older probably, and their kids listening to that same type of hip hop, and then those kids making that type of music. Matter of fact, you know who you should listen to that'll show you what I'm talking about? This kid is named Marlon Craft. Marloncraft. Marlon Craft.
Marlon Craft.
Listen to that man right there. All right. This kid is straight New York. And if you hear him, it's like he was born in the wrong era, if that makes sense, right? Because he spits bars, not fucking this bullshit that you hear, this mumble rap shit, right? I'm not dissing mumble rap. I respect it if you like it, right? But I'm talking about bars. That man right there.
Yeah.
And he's a younger guy coming up, you know what I'm saying? That dude, there's another guy, his name's Asaru. He's here local. Dude, he's like a Raekwon. If you want comparisons,
Wow.
that's how that man sounds. Those kind of bars. There's this dude named Mike Mass, locally here in Tampa as well. Another lyricist, dude. Just these dudes are like all coming up. Younger guys though, from the new era. You know what I'm saying? Like these dudes are like 18, 19, 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? They're just coming up.
Wow,
But these dudes are dope.
It's
bro.
such an interesting time for music because I did a show recently and I talked about the renaissance of hip hop and are we in it? Are we approaching this now? And I feel like we are, and I agree with you, man. There's so many Raekwons and Wu Tangs and I mean that like these are like the doppelgangers of
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. They got that Coast Contra group right now.
Bro,
killing
Coast
it,
Contra, that freestyle,
amazing, bro.
dude, come
And
on, bro.
it's like you said it earlier yourself, Noslin. You said uh they were born in the wrong era.
Yeah. It's like their souls were from the 90s and early 2000s, right? And then they were born in like, 2010 or some shit. You know what I mean? Or whatever the fuck it is, right?
They got
Like born in the 2000s, right? Or late
you
90s
know
or
what
something.
that is. That's CERN. You know
Yeah.
CERN.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
So these
CERN
people,
collider.
yeah, exactly. So you come up and like, but I respect all the guys, right? Because there's this little spot here in Tampa. It's called the Shuffle, and on Tuesdays, they do this like hip hop open mic thing. And there's this dope DJ locally, DJ Faz. What up?
Okay. Okay.
Um, you know what I'm saying? They all come out there and they do the show, bro. And basically, they get three artists to come out. They got two openers and a headliner, right? And it's all local shit. And then after that, you get the open mic, dude, the real gritty shit, right? Like
Okay.
the artists
Okay.
are dope, but you stick around for the open mic, right? Because these guys come out and they're like trying all their new shit, whatever it is. And this one night I went there, there was this dude um, that came out, this dude from Alabama, but he lives here in Tampa now. Um, Jay King is his name. And at first look, you're looking at this kid. He's got glasses on, and I mean, he looks hip hopish,
Yeah,
right? I'm
real
thinking, all right,
unassuming.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like this isn't the regular hip hop dude, right? I'm like, all right, man. Your boy grabs the mic. He's like, yo, what up, what up? It's like, all right, let's get this shit going. Boom, he drops the music and then just starts spitting bars. And I'm just like, where'd this guy come from, bro? Right? Like, who is this kid? And then like I got to meet him. I brought him on the show. I talked to him, and it was kind of crazy. Like you hear these guys, they do the transplant, they come to Florida, and they're like, I want to make this shit happen, man. You know what I mean? I want this to be like, my future or whatever. And he's done it. A lot of these guys, man. I mean, some of the shows that I've been to in the last like, I want to say year and a half, have all been just dope ass lyricists here locally. And I don't know if it's maybe a Florida thing because I know up in Orlando there's a ton of fucking heavy hitters, but
Yeah.
at least in Tampa in general, um, I've I've like I've ran into a bunch of like really dope MCs, and not mediocre. I'm talking about like as close to you can get to that God level MC shit
For sure.
when they're coming
For
up,
sure, man.
like
They're
they're
hungry
like
out here.
dudes with like conscious bars that I'm just like, wow, man. Like I love this shit. And it's changing. And I don't know if maybe everybody got sick of just constant bass and then like five lyrics and it's over. You know what I mean? Like that's a song. I don't know if like people have lost their need to pay attention, maybe.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
because even songs have gone shorter, man. The longest song I think I've heard lately was like 3 minutes and some change, and then the rest of the songs were like two and change, a minute 47 a song. I was like, man, songs have gotten shorter,
You
but
know
I
who
don't
you
think that it's a
do you know
yeah,
who talks about that? About if you go back and listen right in the 90s to KRS-One, he
yeah,
talks about how songs are being shortened to four.
yeah,
In his lyric, he goes 4 minutes
yeah,
and some seconds.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, and it's like that was short back then. Now you're talking 2 minutes, 30 seconds on TikTok, 60 seconds.
yeah.
The shit's changed, man, big
Nah,
time,
bro,
man.
dudes will
But
drop like a 30-second song and be like, yeah, this is it right here. You know what I mean? Like take this and run, right? And I don't know. I think it takes away from the ability to really tell a full story. I mean, maybe what you wanted to say at that point maybe only took a minute 47 seconds, right? I can live with that. I can live with that. I can say I can live with this is all I wanted to say. But typically something like that would be an intro. It wouldn't be something that we would have like right off the bat, right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
there would be, a loss like where it would be you'd get, your intro out, but it would be like a skit, right? Or it would be like you just, spit in a freaking, a cappella verse or something just to get something started, right? Typically is what you would hear. But then later, people have just stopped doing a lot of the stuff. Like you don't see skits as much anymore. I mean, name name 3 artists right now that have skits on their albums.
Ooh, I couldn't. And you're right. There's a lack of albums you can listen to beginning and end. And we could blame that on the streaming world.
Bro, the streaming world
You
has
know,
turned the sales of hip hop music and music in general into this commodity of spins, right? If like you're not getting 100,000, 200,000 spins or more, millions of spins, you're not making any money.
you
You know what
gotta
I mean?
go. Yeah.
You're not
So
making any
I mean,
money.
so imagine let me pose a like sort of a question or something.
Okay.
Imagine a rapper like Redman, or Dr. Dre, the Chronic album, which had a lot of skits. Redman always had a lot of skits. De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
Those artists, if they were put out now, their skits would be shuffled to the bottom and their music would be pushed to the top. So you
Yep.
don't really get a full album experience
Yep.
today, in my opinion, if that makes sense.
I mean, I don't think you would get any of them. Plus, like, let's say you're listening to the old Fugees album, and when they walk into Chang Wang and he goes to buy the chicken, he's like, fry the chicken hard and shit.
Right, right. Great
Like you wouldn't hear
example.
that skit. It's funny as shit
Yeah.
because the
That's such a
voiceovers are
great skit.
hilarious,
Yeah.
right?
He's
Exactly.
like, I like my chicken fried hard.
Hard and shit. Yeah, exactly. You got beef? You want beef?
You want beef? I have beef. Yeah, that's great, man.
He's like, I'll beat your monkey ass as my fucking self. And I'm just like dying laughing inside at this, right? Like, where is it? And they don't have any good skits. So I'm not being an old crabby man.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just speaking my mind about like cool shit that were in albums that I think should make a comeback eventually here.
You know what?
Anybody who's listening out there,
You know
throwing it
what?
out
You
to
know
the
what I
world.
think, old man. I think it's okay. We need to express our. This is what this is for, man. We need to let it out. This is our
Right?
12-step program.
Fuck, man. Fuck. I got to get it out there. But I speak it into the world because I just think everybody should like think about things that we're missing in entertainment, man. A lot of things that we lose.
It's what made music very valuable. Why did we pay such a premium for it and collect it and hold it? Nowadays people just keep it in their account and
Yeah.
they open up their YouTube app. I got YouTube Music. Let me put this on. I experienced something where YouTube years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but they put up a service where they said, upload your music to Google Play, put all your MP3s on our server, and you
Yeah.
can listen to them forever. Now,
Yeah.
whenever I go back to listen to my music, I have to
Yeah.
wade through their ads to get to
Yep.
my favorite stuff. Not only
Yep.
that, some of the skits and things, you can't even find them when you go
Yeah.
in there. They don't play. They're just non-existent.
I haven't found a lot of skits in a while. I think that whole premise of things being missing is these media companies trying to push you towards just stream it. Don't worry about owning it, right? They want to make it a non what's the word where you can hold it? Fuck, man.
Where you can hold it.
It's not tangible.
Oh, right.
It's not tangible. Like I can't put it in my hands and say this is mine. I have my phone in my hand. I'm like, this is mine. You know what I mean? Like I don't have that with my music.
This is so
anymore.
interesting, bro. You're talking about the death of the skit. And you got me thinking because now we're in a world where when you pick up your phone, you thumb through 50 skits by just scrolling through your TikTok or your Instagram, right?
Exactly.
You're thumbing through 50 skits. You got so and then I'm trying to equate this to where is the current modern artist doing this, right? And the only thing I could think of is when they put out a music video, they have that extended beginning where they're acting out something, and to them that's the new skit.
Yeah, I
besides
guess.
Besides the fact that, think about this, is there any value in a skit now when you're trying to get streams, right? And your stream has to play past the, so let's say I put a 15-second skit and you and I are going to pretend we're robbing a bank or something, that may not get any, it may not be monetarily feasible. I don't know if that's the word feasible, but it may not be something that we're going to make a lot of money off of. So if you and I were running a business, we got Noslin Records, we might be like, you know what, we're not going to worry about all that fluff because we don't make money on that, And then another question is, are these new rappers even really funny, bro? With the way we're canceling comedians and the way like comedy and just being real with yourself and all that, like you can't, like, remember Redman had a skit called Who Wants to Fuck a Millionaire? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
like you couldn't do that nowadays. You
No,
could
hell
not
no.
do that skit nowadays. You know, it would be you would be cancel
You know
culture.
what
You know,
though? Well, you know what though? He's got a song where like he just walks around the city slapping people. It's new too, which I looked at it and said, "See,
okay,
this is the kind of shit that I'm missing, right? Let's get some slapstick back into fucking hip hop. Make it entertaining to watch a video.
yes,
You know, he's literally walking around and just telling people, you know, he's gonna slap and he's fucking
I
slapping people.
slapped the shit out you. He's like,
Yeah, exactly.
yes, I
And
love
he's
that,
literally
bro.
just slapping people everywhere. And I love it. Redman, bro, if you're listening to this ever in your lifetime, bro, peace to you, my friend. Thank
Peace,
you. Thank you for
peace,
doing dope shit.
for sure.
But yeah,
Dirty
you know, things like
jurors.
that, like that I miss, that I say, like, why don't we have this? Like, you know, why isn't everything more, you know, about what the culture was, right? All the different facets, all these things. That's why I said that the skit has died, because there hasn't been skits in general. Like, people have gone away from it. They're using it for other forms, you know? And in music, that was like how you got through the story, right? You know what I'm saying? You start at the beginning, it's telling you this intro about what's happening. You know, halfway through the album, you get a little skit. They're usually at a house, they're smoking, they're talking shit, something crazy happens,
You know,
and then boom, it moves on to the song.
I'm trying to think of a time where the skit died, you know? And
Oof.
this is gonna sound really weird, but I remember when Das Effects came
Das
out with their first
effects.
album,
Let's
right?
go.
And this album shocked me because of their affiliation to groups that were known for skits. But if
Yeah.
you really go back and listen to the Das Effects album, there was not one skit. It's literally 13 cuts, 10 to 13 songs, if I remember correctly,
Hmm.
not a single skit.
Nope.
And I remember, you know, and I remember being shocked by that. I remember going, this is a little weird. Like, how come there's nothing for me to relate to the
Yeah.
artist in between, you know? Now, we could argue that Das Effects is an entire skit in themselves when they got songs about like Lucy, that song about
Yeah.
the diarrhea hitting your underwear while you're playing basketball, you know?
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
got the Lucy. I remember Lucy, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
and bum stickety bum, huh? You could
Yeah.
argue that
The
these are
whole
all
thing. Yeah.
the
Their
whole
whole
thing
their
is a
whole their
skit.
whole style.
It's a
Yeah.
whole cartoon, you know. So maybe
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't need it, but I recall at that same time, you may remember Def Squad coming out
Okay.
with El Nino, and that was
Yep.
packed with skits, you know,
Yeah, bro.
packed with skits, right? Wu-Tang albums, their skits were always the kung fu samples. So they would
A
sample a
lot of
kung fu
them. A
movie,
lot of them.
right? You
But
know?
the one where like uh I think it's Ray, and he walks in and he's talking about the dude getting shot. He's like, fuck you mean is he
Oh
fucking
yeah, yeah,
dead?
yeah.
Is he
What the
is he
fuck
dead?
you mean? Is he
He
fucking
fucking dead. Exactly. Shit like that, right? Like, this would
dead?
be something that would really be happening in a house
Yeah,
with
yeah.
people sitting around, and somebody says something. I'm fairly sure the Ray's gonna really say some shit like that, right? Like I don't think it was so scripted, right? Like, I think that this was just random shit they were recording one day. They like played it and said, "Wait a minute, we can use this." You know, there's no incriminating evidence in here, right? There's nothing that'll get us in trouble. We can use this.
You know what? You know what? You know what I think, Noslin? That you because you're bringing out some like this is like a psychiatry session for why the skit died. You know,
Yeah,
uh, you know what I think is going on now is that same reason for them to go in a studio and record themselves having like a blunt at the apartment while they watch the killer tape and somebody tells
yeah,
a story about a shooting, you know what I mean, in the neighborhood.
exactly.
Now you get that by following your favorite artist and check my live or check my, you know, my post, my
Yeah, look at
story,
my
my feed.
reels. Look at all my
Look at my
reels. Yeah,
reels. And on the reel, you'll get that. You know how you see like like what was that rapper just recently? He punched his own artist. He was
yeah, yeah,
walking
yeah.
backstage and he turned around and just beat like he punched his own artist in the face, his own like artist that he signed to a record label. And it
Yeah.
made the news, and it was like it was the baby or somebody punches his own artist. Oh my God, I can't believe it. That's the new skit. The new skit is
Yeah.
like go to my Patreon, give me $1 and I'll play you the 15-second snippet of me rolling a blunt in the back of a Uber when I'm not supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah. So so then let's round back, right? So then at the end, maybe it died in the original sense, right? It was reborn into these little skits, right? And then these skits are now becoming this monetarily adventure, right? A monetary adventure. Because I mean, half these dudes, they're like how are you gonna make money on half of the stuff on Instagram? The people that are there, the affiliates, maybe they
Hmm.
make a little money. They get in there, they do the ads. You see them. All these like so-called models, but you only see them on Instagram.
Instagram models, only
Exactly.
fans.
Only fans. Exactly. But I mean, the point is that like it's like you try and monetize these little things. The artist is like, we can make money off your image for anything that you do, right? So like every time somebody plays a video of you getting out of a car and saying something and walking away, right? Boom, that's it, right? Like how many times have you seen those like YouTube videos of like these compilations of every time an artist got upset because like, TMZ wrote up on them, started asking them questions. They're like, fuck, man, I just want to fucking drink some coffee, bro. What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Weird shit like that. And they get it on film and then they're like, we're going to sell this. We're
Very
going to
good
make
point.
money.
Very good point.
And that's literally what it's been. I mean, that's literally what it's
Yeah.
turned into, right? Like, what can they make money on media wise?
Wow. That was deep, bro.
No, I'm just saying
Nah,
though,
that
like
was
this
deep.
is the shit that's
You're
happening
taking
right
it
now.
there because you got to think. You're right, bro. I could sell this moment. Why give it to you for free on Spotify? 15-second clip.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang gave it to us for free because there was no internet back then. They had to be like, yo, we need to let these people know what we're really doing. Let's make a skit of us in an apartment somewhere, getting ripped on blunts, right?
Yeah.
That's an interesting take on it. It's
I mean,
monetized now. It
yeah,
really
bro,
is.
everything's monetized. It's like you gotta look at everything. It's like, where can you make money with everything that you're doing? Media consumption is, at a different rate. I think that's why it affects the culture in general, right? Like, and I'm using hip hop because that's what we focus on the show, but I think it affects all the genres. But in hip hop in general, I mean, you're seeing like veterans in the game going live on Instagram. All right. Tell me when in their life and all their gangster ass lyrics and shit that they've said. All right. You know what I'm saying? About holding guns and doing stick ups and freaking, running around, having to sell drugs and living in the projects and all this shit to saying one day, bro, I go live on Instagram for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. My publicist says I have to. I go on there, fucking 10,000 people show up. They watch me for 10 minutes and then I'm out.
And then remember, they're donating too. You got the people that are giving them money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the new hustle. It's the new hustle,
think about
bro.
that shit, right? They're there live. They're just making money, and it's 10 minutes of their time that all these people are like, I'll pay $50 to look at you for 10 minutes. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Right? Because it's like, if I'm going to pay $50, I'm at your concert and I'm actually experiencing you live, right?
Yeah. Front row
Like,
action.
you want to throw a concert? You want me to be there? I'll spend some money, but give me what I want. I'm not going to go and I don't want to see a fucking virtual you, bro. That's ridiculous, right?
What do you think of Cameo?
Oh man, Cameo's another way to monetize artists. Like, hey, pay this guy to say something.
Right.
I want Jay-Z to tell me happy birthday and spit me 8 bars. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you can pay for it.
$4,000. Jay-Z's pretty
cheap.
expensive.
It's not cheap, but he'll spit 8 bars for me. And what do I get in the return? Do I get to keep that recording forever? Is it mine?
Now, let's equate this, because somebody that business Cameo is an interesting thing, because remember, DJs in the old days would pay for drops from their artists.
Yeah,
so they would pay an arm and a leg. They pay $100 for Busta Rhymes to go, yo, you're listening to the real Noslin, rah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, they kind of made a business out of it, but it's shameful to see some of your favorite artists on there sort of selling themselves. It's kind of
again, it's like, how many revenue streams can you have now, right? Before, it was more about, you knew exactly what you were going to spend money on, right? Street Team, the album, right? Because you had to buy all the shit to make the album, the CDs, the fucking, vinyl, whatever the hell you were going to, print up. You had to pay for studio, right? So you've got studio time you're paying for. You're paying for the Street Team. You're paying for the local radios to play your shit, right? You're getting them to do commercials for you, right? So the label's helping them at this point, but the independent guys, The ones that are actually doing it, where they were out there in the street, giving out flyers, telling people that there was going to be a show, building the hype up for something when, you know, nobody really knew that it was even happening. You know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't fucking verses to tell you that there's going to be these two artists that you've been wanting to see go at it, right? Like you had to be word of mouth, or somebody had to have told you, or it had to hear it on the radio. Now it's like any social media outlet that you use, you're going to get what you want. You just subscribe to the things you want to see, right? You follow the things you want. And like they say that it's curated for you, right? And then they help you with suggestions, and like all the suggestions are like, you should probably buy this. You should probably take a look at this product too. This is
Yeah.
another great
Yeah.
one. You're going to love this, right? And it's like you're selling me ads the entire time. I'm like just scrolling down this, and like the shit that I care about, they give me 5 posts of it, and then there's like 20 suggested posts, and then I get what I want again, right? So it's like, how do they keep it afloat? Everything's about money. I don't think it's ever been more of a capitalistic, you know,
But who's to blame for that? You got to think, like, is this something you blame the record labels, the artists, or technology? Because we got to
I mean,
remember.
just all of it. They all have a part in it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They all have a
yeah.
part in it, because like the labels are like, we're cutthroat, we need money. I don't really give a fuck about what the artist wants, right? Because most of the deals are like that. They don't own any of their, any of their music until they sign some kind of crazy deal, right? A good example of that would have been when uh, it was in the Wu-Tang show, right? When RZA signed ODB to the other label, right? Instead of going to the one he wanted to be. He wanted to be in Def Jam his whole life. He didn't put him there. He put him in what was it, Elektra or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. He switched over labels.
So
This was
he
like
went to the
this
label
was
that RZA
RZA
gave him. Yeah,
releasing him.
yeah. RZA put him on a for his. It was obviously it's a single release, right? Like him as an individual artist, right? Soloist. Oh shit! Some music came on. Hold on.
I don't hear
Wow, let me turn
anything.
that down. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm not streaming it out to
Yeah.
you. But the whole point is that like you've got, all this information that's coming at you, right? And then you say, well, how do I make money on it? Everything is about that. I keep pushing that envelope, because it's like everybody says, why don't local artists make any money? And I was like, well, what are they doing to promote themselves?
Mm,
What's
mm,
their budget? I mean,
yeah.
they've got social media, but that's on a limited basis. Like unless you've got 10,000 to 20,000 followers locally, you're probably not going to do that well. You know, that's why people don't realize that when you're coming up, it's a struggle regardless, right? We always talk about independent artists, right? And all the artists that are signed now started off independently, but they created a vibe for themselves. They pushed themselves. A good example of that's this dude, Russ. Have you heard of Russ?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude out of Georgia, dope MC. Sings. It's like he's like a Chico.
Yeah.
He's like a Chico fucking Drake, right? Mad bars and could sing. And he's got this long flowing hair, and I'm just like, wow, dude. Okay. Hippie vibe, but he fucking spits bars. And then you see what he did all on his own. He's not signed it. He's signed to his own label, him. And he sells out, venues with like 20, 30, 40,000 people. And then you ask yourself, what did that guy do that was any different than anybody else? Well, if you read about the story of who Russ is, he used to do this thing where like he would put out a song like every day on SoundCloud, like literally every day. One new song every fucking day, new song every day, new song every day, until like people were like sitting around waiting. Yo, you putting out another track? Yo, you putting out another track, until he had enough music to keep people busy for a while. Then starts working on this album, but he needs to like promote it. So he fucking goes on tour for himself, sets this shit up by himself, right? Goes on this tour, sells out fucking venues, plays all his new music, his fucking album. People don't even realize it at first. Album gets released. People are like, wait a minute. I went to that freaking concert. That was your album. And then boom. fucking marketing genius, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
It's like, how do you get the new shit out there and get people involved? Well, first make them want to see you, and then go let them listen to your new shit when you do a tour.
Well,
Don't even play it
you
yet.
know, the way you're describing it, right? He's got this look, you know, there's that energy there. So there's already that attraction from everyone to go, "Ooh," you know, curiosity. And then you have this sort of quantity over quality sort of a thing where you just keep hitting them over the head with music. Because, you know, you got me thinking, like, back to when I was doing music, you know, I go back to literally 91 when I first started getting truly serious in the studio and like, let me make demos and try to get signed and all this, right? You know, and
Yeah.
I think of like you know, this person, you know, what was I saying? I lost my train there. He's got an image, you know, he's
Yeah.
doing the quantity over quality thing. And I think of myself back in the day when I went to record, how many songs never got put out because there's a gatekeeper somewhere that goes, we can't put this out, or that's not the one, or that one's a little too controversial, you know. So like I wonder if I, going back in time, would benefit from today's system where I could just dump everything on the world at once, and you
Yeah.
kind of let the people pick instead of allowing somebody at a label or a manager or someone to go, you know what, Noslin, I don't really like that one, man, and maybe you should change your look, bro. We're gonna get you some dreads with a, you know, a couple. We'll get you some contacts so you can look like an
Oh yeah.
owl and a
Yeah.
few, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's different pressures back then, I guess, man. But I often think to myself, would I have been more successful now in this era, in this time? Would I have, you know, been able to secure more bags and make better networks and all that, you know? I mean, we did it how we had to do it, you know? We did it, we used what we had. We had to go into studios, book studio time, $100 an hour, record a demo, drop that demo down to a cassette tape, take that cassette tape, get it duplicated, get artwork printed. It was not an easy task, you know? Uh Now being able to just sit at home and just throw out 1,000 songs, you know, drop them on DistroKid and let, you know, the royalty checks come in, like Papoose. I saw Papoose on Drink Champs, and he was talking about, I cut all the labels out. I cut every label out. I literally just I do one song a day. The average month is 30 days. That's 30 songs you get in a month. 3, 6, 9, 12, 8. This guy's doing 400, 500 songs a year. But he says, you know, the difference is that I do all of this, and then like out of the 30 songs I do in a month, 4 of them might have Busta Rhymes on it or some guest appearance, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where he's cleaning up. That's where he's making his money back, because it's like, you know, out of those 30 songs, you might not like a single one of them, and then you stumble on something with Drake, or I don't know, you know, Drake and Papoose will ever rhyme together, but but
You.
you know,
I mean, if we were to see that ever in our lifetime, I'm just gonna mark it on my calendar
right,
and
right.
I'll take a picture and
But
just
yeah,
leave it
yeah.
forever,
The sun will turn pink and the moon
bro.
will go purple.
I, it would,
Nah, man, I love it, bro,
like
because
seeing
you.
like the end of the world movies, you know, where, like the sun's coming up over the horizon, but it's like pink and shit, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is happening right now?"
There's a guy with a Tibetan bowl, and he looks up at the sky, scared. Oh no! The birds fly over. You know.
But like, there's somebody everywhere in the world, so they're like kind of like moving around the
Right, right. Yes.
like somebody doing something different each time. You know what I'm saying?
You're in a different
They,
city, a
they're
different country.
You know what I'm saying? Some viejita on fucking like one of the Caribbean islands. She's out there with her fucking little thing on. She's like hanging her clothes, you know.
Yeah. Ay, Dios mío, and then it cuts.
Oh, son. Fucking pink sun's coming up. But yeah, so
Man.
shit like that. So again, these are all like evolutions of what's been happening in music in general. But I think hip hop has been affected by it in a way that has changed how they even promote stuff now. You know, before you had the street teams, but now like I'll go and like if I want to know anything about any concerts that are coming up, I just I go to Insta, I go to their page, and I'm like, anything new? Oh, there it is right there. Boom, there's the show. That's the one I want to go see, right? I take the info down, I start searching, trying to find some tickets. Like I went to a show like earlier this year for Wu Tang, right? When they came into town. It was no, it was was it last year or this year?
Oh man, great show. Did
I think
you get to see all of them, or were they missing any members?
no,
Obviously,
it was
ODB
the
wouldn't be
pre-champ
there.
tour. So it was Jizza, Raekwon, and Ghostface.
Okay.
So they came, right? All of them I got to see younger in age, but these three specifically, they came to Tampa. Was at the Ritz. Y'all are from 813, baby. You already know the
All
Ritz.
right.
All right. It's this dope place. Like it's got this like amphitheater thing way in the back, right? So like if you look at it, it's basically two bars when you first come in, right? So there's this long hallway that takes you out to the big amphitheater in the back. But when you first come in, there's a bar to the right and there's a bar to your left. And then on the other side of that, there's like this room or like a standing room, right? Where you could chill, hang out, talk shit before you go into the amphitheater. And I remember going there and they were doing like sound checks and shit because like they were getting some of the local guys were going to go on. Matter of fact, this dude K3, shout out to K3, bro. Dope ass local artist here, bro. This kid opens up for fucking Wu-Tang and like life changing shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, you opened for fucking Wu-Tang, bro.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Not to cut you off there, but big shout out to the Warheads because we're talking 96 to 98. They were on tour with the Warheads on tour with Wu-Tang. The Warheads on tour with Wu-Tang as an opening act. And I remember that back then being life-changing for them. And they were already bubbling. They were already doing their thing, But come on, man, that's a resume builder, Like that's a resume builder.
It's like the fact that they're getting these type of opportunities is something else, man. Whoever this promoter was like, look, bro, I got these local kids. They're really good. You'll like them. And dude was like, all right, man. Well, is it expensive? Nah, man. Some local kids.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'm playing out the freaking conversation because I know that these promoters aren't trying to pay these kids.
No, of course not. No, they're gonna get them to do it for free. They get to perform for Wu-Tang. That's their payment.
And I was like, and if it was me, I'd be like, you know what? As awesome as that sounds, I still need to get paid because I'm an artist. And since they're an artist and I'm an artist, then I should get paid. And of course, if I was that kid, I don't know what he got paid. I don't even know if he got paid. I hope he did. At the end of the day, I hope he did. But I'm gonna say this. I do want to talk about some music though, because I think we haven't even touched on that yet. There is this group. They're out of the DMV. That's Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. If you guys know where the DMV is.
Okay.
All right, north of here, some dope dudes. These guys are called Divine Sons. And I think you can hear the song here.
I can hear that. That shit sounds crazy. I heard angels and
ready?
The earth is opening up.
It sure is, bro.
Wake up to one night.
Listen to this shit. Listen to this shit real quick.
Maybe a year from now. Maybe two. And all you'll see is a pillow over your face and you'll hear a pop.
One thing I learned in school is you never go by the book. How you believe in king when my pawn just scooped his rook? I just walked up in the spot and already I got him shook. Waving a piece in both hands like I'm not a crook. I need everyone to chill. I'm just here to have a look. Looking for your queen to scheme. Nah, I never even made an offer. I threatened that I'd offer. She just sacrificed positions. Yeah, things got awkward. Remember, the law of the land is the way of the gun. I put in work with many, but I ain't playing with none. So while Uncle Sam is cooking, just know that change is gonna come. So keep trying your luck and continue raising your son. You got options, while all our options have been exhausted. Precautious, cocking that Nina till she get nauseous. I'm off it. But justice can't sometimes to defend yourself, you gotta mount an offense.
Call a spade and follow suit. Pouring cocktails at Cascade, swallow the truth. The thing about the game, rules never change. Application creates aggravation, guilt and shame. Fuck a palace, built a name. I told on my lane, charging niggas like double A. Anderson fame, profane, propane, hot shit all flames. The smoke is the aftermath, and that's word to game. running concentric circles, graphing my next play. All up like Steffi Graf for songs by Wanye, so divine. We define Sunday, still in my prime. Punch you in your ribs, no gunplay. One day it'll all make sense, but until then, fighting tooth and nails like your girlfriend were feeling. Fortunate to have brothers and real friends, cause Judas will double cross you out when the wheels spin.
My pen intentionally holds bars like penitentiaries. The song you struggle with and quit would have been a cinch to me. Crafting bars is effortless. If you were from my era, then your catalog be recordless. Now what you gon' tell me? That's like an atheist teaching the wrath of God, a Methodist, a Baptist, backwards. Not the way I move, gotta pay your dues. Real winners are not afraid to lose. And whom shall I fear when you can come near? Truly they be fighting blind until it all becomes clear. Daredevil comparison, if he could really see their real levels of arrogance, set off my killing spree. My murder weapon confirmed, that's the style that still is free. Billy C, when we Smalley Marlin King like that one that used to run with us could never share the same mic. I feel my shoes.
This is
wow.
Taste. This is just a taste. So
wow.
I'll leave the rest for you guys if you want to hear that shit. Look it up. It's Divine Suns. That's DIVIN Suns SUNS, and it's this. It's off the album The Beautiful. And that particular song right there is called Law of the Gun. That is that fire shit. I was trying to send you before with some music, and I was like, yo, I can send you this shit while we're recording. And I'm like, fuck, man, let me get this set up because I wanted you to hear this track. We haven't talked about music the whole time, but these dudes right here, man, with these guys for years, bro. I've gotten to, there's like 9 of them. It's like Wu-Tang. Remember how you were talking about these groups coming out? They're like Wu-Tang. These dudes right here, Divine Suns, they are amazing hip hop guys, man. Just
that was impressive. That was a great find, Noslin. I'm gonna tell you what, you said Wu-Tang, but I'm gonna cross reference someone that they to me sound more like. Damn it, I just lost who it is. Who was CeeLo? Remember, who's that creeping in my window? Goody Mob, bro. They remind me of Goody Mob because you got different flows. You've got like a West Coast rapper in there. You got a non-regional, can't tell if he's from Canada or New York. Where's this guy from? The next guy comes in with a Southern flow, sounds like Outkast. Whoa, bro. Whoa, Dungeon Family vibes going on in there too. Their accents are so interesting. So you named like a Bermuda Triangle. What was it again? You said West Virginia and what?
DMV. So Delaware, Maryland, Virginia.
Wow.
And these dudes are from that area. It's like a tri-state type of thing. They're all connected. So, because it's landlocked up there. So they've got this like area, and they're all like close to each other. So like you can go between the states. They're only like a few hours away each way. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very tight knit up there, but it's beautiful. Wow. A lot of dope MCs. So this particular group, I met back in 2014. Okay. And I've been fucking with them since then. And this is one of their latest album. They've got a bunch of albums, so if you want to check them out, but Divine Suns. And then earlier, remember I mentioned this dude, Marlon Craft, right? See, this was a setup, man. I ain't say shit to
It's a setup.
So it's Marlon Craft. This particular track, this one's called Hans Zimmer. And you want that real New York shit?
Oh, yes, please.
This right here. You ready?
Rock it. Let me
go. Rock it for y'all.
Oh,
the beat's dirty as fuck. Watch this.
Yeah. New York ain't dead. Came back to life in the apocalypse. I done seen too much by 14 to be an optimist. Round late registrations drop. I learned about consequence. Before shit mellowed out, I saw a few Marty Collinses. Compliment, bitch, I got accomplishments. You can't get switched on if you don't got accomplices. Everybody on the fence got pushed the fuck off the shit. So brace yourself before you lost a wrist, little cocky bitch. Make the working man high art. Some around me wasn't solid, so I broke down my circle like a pie chart. They only tough on radio. Yeah, that's that I heart. When the swag too try hard, that's that he alive mark. They ride waves, I cast sails on the penmanship. Only time I'm overboard is listening to that shit. Pirate in the flows, tide rise, you get exposed. Little diamonds in your rose, say you enterprise and get sold cause you rent the shit. Homie, I'm the excrement. Stick your little chests in, turn a pest to a pessimist. I don't care if I'm meant for this, is what I'm doing. Every marriage I seen was toxic. Me in the game, just another yo-yo. Who, him? I feel like laughing. They feel like captions. I feel like passion. What you do for that hood you rep, I feel like asking. I mean like action. Now you just cashing on a lifestyle that you never lived, and you don't hand nothing back. Like it's third down and a shotgun set you in. Who you help? You could be the TikTok star that you are, but when that clock stops, oh boy, this the soundtrack to a dark night. Bitch, I'm on Zimmer.
Yeah. You know,
Yo, kid.
I'm not even gonna play that whole one.
Yo, kid. Wow.
The people,
Wow.
y'all want to fuck with some dope MC shit?
Yo.
With Marlon Craft, bro. Let me tell you.
Bro, Marlon Craft, Hans Zimmer. You know, Hans Zimmer's a composer.
Yeah, bro. And he's like comparing his abilities to shit like that.
Ugh.
I mean,
That was wicked, man. The flow was right on point, bro. He was slightly ahead of the beat. You know what I mean? And the shit, the shit that's crazy is shout out to whoever produced that track. I don't know if it's the same artist rapping on it or not, but bro, the way you did not use quantize, you avoided any tempo correction, and you just let that shit rock like a human would. It was like a dung dung, ga dung dung, and then it would go off. Dung dung, ga dung dung. Whoa, easy. That was dope. That was fire.
Early Wu-Tang beats, right? Where they would be literally spitting off beat because the song was like that, right? You couldn't like spit in the same, and you couldn't build a cadence that would match the type of the beat.
Son, I'm gonna tell you why. This is from a guy who in the Wu-Tang era was producing on SP 1200s, MPCs. Okay, I had Tritons, I had ASRs, I had gear. We used to produce on them. And do you know what part of the problem is? Is if you listen to Wu-Tang's music, a lot of that stuff was produced on the SP 1200. Okay, if you listen to the story, it was ODB's people that ended up jacking a pawn shop and gave it to RZA and and Jizza and the rest of them who were making beats, and they were creating some shit. So that whole SP 1200 runs off of a thing called SMPTE. So if you know anything about connecting music, which I heard earlier, you were talking about MIDI, right? Oh, yeah. MIDI is a way of digitally connecting equipment and getting them to talk to each other and sync with each other. Well, pre-MIDI, before they had MIDI, they had a thing called SMPTE, and that's SMTPE. And you had to plug in 2 plugs, and it would send out a click code that you couldn't hear, but the computer would pick up on, and it would try to stay in sync. Now, over a 3 to 5 minute period, the equipment would fall out of sync. So you would have the bass line dropping out of the drum, and all of a sudden everything would be off. So a lot of times, you're in the studio, you're Wu-Tang, it's 1990, whatever, 190, 2. You got a session that's costing you $400 an hour. The equipment's going off at the end, you got to make a decision. We're going to re-record this shit, or we're just going to take our budget and run, right? So look that up if you get a chance. I know you know all about it, but those listening in, SMPTE and how it falls out of sync over time. It's weird. Fucking weird, bro.
Yeah. See, look, bro, you learn shit.
I just nerded out, man. I'm sorry.
Bro, I love it, dude. Like you get schooled, you know what I'm saying? Like you get some knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You get some music.
For sure. It's one of the things I appreciate about your show, man. Just to give you some respect, and thank you for inviting me on. You hit me up. We spoke in the past a few times. You jumped on one of my lives and we chatted, and you said, "Yo, let's rip some fucking podcast shit. Let's go." And I was like, "Yo, I'm down. Let's do it." And we turned a meeting into a show. And I know it's a little impromptu, man, but it's been
it really is
been fucking amazing, bro. Because I listened to a bunch of your shows, and I've dealt with you a few times live, and I've heard of you through the grapevine. And one of the things I get out of you is you're sort of like a hip hop sommelier. You're putting it in your mouth, whipping it around a few times and going, okay, that's got a little DJ Premier in it. I hear a little, there's a couple backspins and a graffiti in there somewhere, 5 elements of hip hop shit. So, and I always appreciated that about you in the show. And, and I've just been catching up and listening to you and your boy, Yoani and shit. And that, dope, man, dope. I appreciate what you guys do, man. And thank you for having me. And I'm ready to go to fuck in, bro. This is my shit, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
It's
saying?
just
What I
it's
do.
just my
I mean,
shit.
but
It's
like
just my
whenever
shit,
you
man. I
want,
love it. I love it, Naslin. Let's rock,
listen,
bro.
listen, whenever you want. I'm telling you, whenever you want, we could go live, do some shows. I don't give a fuck.
No doubt.
I think it's all about putting it out there, man. And I just love to be able to talk to somebody else who wants to nerd out on it like I do.
Bro, seriously. No, seriously. Because, you came, the way you, in the beginning of the show, you were like, yo, I know Am. I met you through Am. And you're right, and that's because Am, much love to my brother Am. Got a lot of love for that guy. He came through Migraine. And the way I met Am is because we were Realm Z. We had a recording studio, rehearsal space. And I had a group called Napalm Federation, which had Rugged in it. My boy Legacy, rest in peace. My boy Rick Dunn, rest in peace, and me. And we were the Napalm Federation, and we came up alongside a lot of the early 90s hip hop here in Orlando. And we started doing pirate radio stations. We did Raw 94 here in Orlando and 95 Live. These are two stations that ran for a long time under the FCC's radar,
Yeah.
and were able to operate. And they gave us a show. They were like, yo, we want you guys to be on the show because we were, you got to understand, we're doing sound in the clubs. We're recording artists. We have a label we're trying to build. And here's this pirate radio station. So there's an opportunity there to go, let's trade some work. I can get my boys to perform for you for work. My father was a printer. Big shout out, Mr. Z. He would do printing. So back then you needed flyers and shit like that.
Mhm.
We could trade. So eventually they were like, yo, do you want to do a show? Do you want to do you want to have a 3-hour spot? And my father was like, yo, let's work some deals and get a few shows going. So we had a show where we called it the Local Invasion. And we
Nice.
would only play local artists, and local meaning Florida. You could be from anywhere in Florida. If you were from anywhere else, you were not local. We didn't count you as a local, And we
Right.
would play shit, man. And we found this guy Migraine through this group called Open Campaign. All
Nice.
right. Big shout out Murdoch Beat Ministry. And Migraine was nasty, man. He was just like levels ahead. And he had this other crew with him, the Vets of Kin, and there were all these other rappers, and we had already been doing shit for a long time. So now we're on the radio now, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna play some local artists that are on to come up, And these dudes were so fucking persistent. They show up at every show with CDs out. Hey, you play my shit, please play my shit on the air, So I got blessed and I got a lot of music. I got shit on tape here, man. I got some gems, bro. I got dudes calling in, giving me live freestyles on the air. They call in and talk shit, And this is pre-podcast. This is radio. This is literally put an antenna up and broadcast that shit to the world, So
It reminds me of we had here in Tampa, and they still have it. It's not as prevalent as it used to be, but there used to be like a local TV station, public access.
oh yes.
And so
Public access is the shit.
I've got the VHS tapes to prove it, but I had a show on there, me and my homeboy Steve.
Oh, no shit.
Steve Michalski, what up, bro?
Okay.
Me and that guy, we were we worked at Discount way back then, and we had to get like ASC certified in parts and all this shit. So like we were legit, right? Like we had certifications, bro. I was like, yeah, man, like we know our shit, right? We started doing the show, and then like people started watching it, and people started watching it, and then people started watching it, and it got to be this thing where like we were like walking around town, and people knew that we had this show. It was short lived. I'm not gonna lie. The show lasted 2 years, right? But in those 2 years,
Okay.
we built up a following that I think if like one of these like TV stations could have picked us up, bro, we would have been big right now. And all we did was talk about easy shit, right? The things that most people find extremely hard to do on their car. They don't want to change their oil, transmission filter. We did one show. We did a
wow
change. We did all this shit, and we're like literally showing video of us doing it, but also we're in the studio, and this, like, if you would have seen it on TV, it was sick. It's like this picture-in-picture thing, and it's showing us doing it, and we're describing what's happening, and everybody's just kind of like watching us do it. And I remember the very last show, and this is why I'll never forget it, is we had a caller. They called in, and they were like, hey, if it wasn't for you guys, I would have been stuck on the side of the road because you taught me how to look at my change them. I was able to find that one of the wires was messed up, You know, I found the store, bought the wire, came back, put it on, car started, and everything was good. And like we were like, "Are you serious?" And like, "Yeah, man,
Yeah.
lifesavers. You don't understand how great this is for the community." Blah blah. And then last show of the year. But amazing,
Wow.
man.
That is a phenomenal story, bro.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
some
'Cause
life-changing shit right there. You
it
touched
was. He
somebody.
was.
You
He was.
touched somebody, bro.
Yeah, but we got the connection through HCC, which is Hillsborough Community College. It's local here to Tampa, obviously, but we I was taking this night class there, to kind of like for some extra shit. I was thinking about going back, but I couldn't really afford to go like full blown, so I was taking this night class, and I just happened to meet this dude that was in this media thing, and he knew the guy, and then Steve knew him. So we kept talking to him until finally one day he's like, "Come by the studio. Let me see what you guys got." And we fucking blew his mind because we shot our own fucking video. We're like, "Yo, we got a demo, bro." You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a demo, fucking VHS of us.
Wow.
We shot that shit with the old RCA 1050. It was big handheld one that was like 500 pounds.
Yep, the Marty McFly Back to the Future. Yep.
Exactly.
Doc
And
Brown.
yeah. And it's funny because like his dad owned it, but that's a long story and we won't get into it on the show, but
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
his dad owned
little
it.
pawn shop action, huh?
He ended up inheriting it. And then we were able to shoot the show and get the demo done, and that's how we ended up getting it. But small leap for me. I say it as like I proved to myself that like I could do something like that, something entertaining. And I think that's what pushed me to want to do podcasting, when I started back. Cause like I listened to podcasts before I ever got into it. Like I started listening to podcasts back in like 2008. And back then you needed like, your 30-pin cable that was connected to your iPod.
Yeah.
You had to connect it to iTunes. You had to tell iTunes, get this RSS feed, download this file from there.
Download it, yeah.
Put
Click, I
onto
want
this.
this.
Now take it from here and transfer it to this fucking thing, right? Just so I could hear it because I didn't have an RSS player, so there was nothing available at that time. You couldn't.
That was the only way. Yeah.
Had it like the super nerds, and I wasn't there yet, but I had an iPod, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm listening to this shit." So I got my computer, connected the fucking iPod. I got this shit to run. Matter of fact, it was back when it was like Mac OS Tiger. You guys want to get back when it was called Tiger.
Yeah, we're up to like El Capitan now or something.
Yeah, it's like it's something else, some other mountain name or whatever. But the whole point, El Monterey, that's what it is.
Monterey. I was gonna say Mountain Lion for some reason.
Yeah, Mountain Lion was one too, though. But so like they had all the animals and shit, but it was back then. And I finally got it to work, and then I was like, man, I want to do this so bad, but I'm a young kid and I'm broke. And it took me forever. But in 2012, I had my shit together. I was like, I'm getting it. So I bought all the equipment. I showed you the AKG earlier before we were live. I showed you the AKG. I've had it since then, if you can imagine. It's the Perception series, bro. This is an A120. It's an older AKG, but it was
it does the trick.
It's the best vocal mics.
The price is right, yeah.
I mean, I think back then it was when I first bought it. I think it was it's like $220.
That's about right. Yeah, that's about
right. $220 in 2012. That same mic now is a little more, but it's also inflation and fucking.
And because it's one of those for that price, it sounds like a $400 or $500 mic.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, because I can sit here and bullshit you, but I mean, if we're gonna talk, I'm gonna tell you. I told you this earlier. I'm gonna say it again. I only use Shure. I will never use any other type of mic. I'm sorry, Mike, but I don't. I'm married to Shure. That's it. We're done.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting. Now, this is based off of, do you ever, I mean, the SM58 and the SM57, some of the greatest microphones ever to exist, man. And that's Shure,
I mean, but Shure is it's one of those companies that it doesn't really matter which one you get. It's going to be a good one. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really have a cheap microphone. I mean, even their cheapest microphone isn't cheap, And I think over the years of me doing audio and recording and building up this knowledge, it's like if you're gonna do it, I mean, like even people that are listening tonight, you know, if you're gonna do it, you know, like go balls to the wall, man. Try and buy the most expensive mic you can. Get the best mixer you can. Get a really good interface. Typically, Scarlett's really good. You know what I'm saying? They make amazing interfaces that have tons of fucking ports. You can get like a 6i6 and probably do everything that you want, and have auxiliary outs so that if people are in your studio that day, they can hear it even if they're not on the show.
Scarlett's are dope. Scarlett's are dope. Yeah, they're not as proprietary. They run on a lot of different equipment.
Damn it, but you know, it's the fact that like, you know, you buy the equipment that does the job, right? I think that the thing about being a podcaster is that you start to learn what is the best fit for what you do, you know? And everybody's going to have a different thing. They're going to tell you what mixer's the best. They're going to tell you what mic's the best. They're going to tell you all this shit. But what I told you, a Mac, a Scarlett, and a Shure mic, and it's money from there, bro.
Like, it is. Now, let me ask you a question, Naslin. Do you run anything through a vocal chain? Do you have your mic, is it going straight into the computer, or are you doing any like processing?
I have it, the XLR running from the mic, right? The XLR is coming off the mic right here. It loops back around back there. And then on the back of the, or on the front, actually, channel 1, right? The first channel. That's what takes the XLR from that mic, right? And then I have an auxiliary out specific to my headset that covers what I'm saying. So like when I'm doing the monitoring and I'm hearing myself, it's coming through that out. So I'm getting the full analog everything. Like the only digital connection is from the Scarlett to the computer, but everything else connected through there. So it's all, you know, analog equipment. So like that shit sounds like I'm there, right there with you.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Only reason I ask is, you know, and then let me ask you the next question would be, are you doing any processing afterwards?
I mean, most of the stuff that I use is what everybody has. I take loopback and I run everything through there. And what that does is it gives me 2 stereo channels, and then I just do what I want with them at that point.
Okay.
I put it in when I mix it down, I go in and I have like 2 different types of equalizers, right? One for like vocal shit that I have just for that. And then the other one takes out all the rest of the sound. Right?
Okay.
Limiters and all
so
that
you're processing it. Yeah, you got limiters, gates.
Yeah.
So little maybe some compression or an EQ.
I don't use gates for audio vocal recording because I'm not singing. If I was singing, then I'd want to have a gate because the gate would allow me to compress the amount of specific tones or pitches that.
Yeah, and the gate is the one that's dropping. So, you know, it'd be when a singer tries to take a deep breath and they hear that breath come in, that's the gate stopping that breath. And then the minute they go, and I will always, you know, that whole thing kind of lifts up. So,
but I'm not singing.
Shout out Whitney Houston.
I don't really need a gate. Exactly. I don't really need a gate for vocal recording. Although I probably could use it if I started to have anybody start spitting bars or something that required it. I could always.
I guess you know what it is, Naslin, is if you're in a multi-mic situation. So when I have guests here sitting around the studio, that's when you need it, because if the guest across is talking, your mic, you can have a gate on just your mic and your guest, and it'll kind of chop out that air of me breathing or me mumbling or coughing, or, you know, so that's the only time that's beneficial.
So when you're doing like a multi-mic thing, you'd want to have the gate working. And again, typically it's just me, right? Because I do everything remote. I don't really have to be anywhere. I can just, if I got an internet connection, I can do the show, right? But my thing for myself, I don't need it because I've got my vocals. I mean, you hear it on your side.
Yeah, no. Hey, listen, not to cut you off. I'm gonna cut you off because that's my specialty, is cutting people off. But one of the things I noticed about your show was how amazing your voice was, and you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the great jocks from back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that would come on and be like, "You're listening to the real Naslin," you know, and you had this energy, and I was like, "Yo, this motherfucker right here."
Like some of the super old
very
shit.
radio, bro.
Very radio-ish, because it was about I was like, here, let me tell you this story. This is a good. So think back. It's 2012. I'm starting out. I'm doing a podcast about iPhone rumors. I met this guy who was already doing it for a long time. Right. This kid is, well, he's an older man, but I'm still pretty young at that point. 2012. I'm still pretty young. So, I'm talking to this guy and I'm asking him about, like, what do I need to make this sound better? How do I do this? And he's like, what are you using? And I'm telling him, and he's like, you got a Mac? Oh, that's going to be easy. Here, do this, and this. And after that day, vocals was like my thing. I'm like, fuck, now that I know how to do this shit, I can record. And I kept pushing myself until I finally got it to where it really sounds polished, right? Like it's really sounds complete. When you hear it, I really get that vibe. Now, obviously, if I had a better acoustics than what I'm in now, like if I had all the matting up, and I had the sound editing, I could take out a lot of the reverb that's still in this room, and then I would sound probably even better. But that's expensive, and I'm not there yet. And
yeah.
these
I'll tell you what, it's not bad.
ain't worth it.
It's not bad, man. I've been listening to the shows, and kind of I don't know if you're recording them in the same spot, but it's not not bad. You have the right amount of room reverb,
Yeah, and I also go in and I EQ out a lot of that stuff too, and the limiter helps me with that because there are certain octaves that sound makes that it won't pick up, which is mostly why I do it. And people think I'm weird that I spend this much time to make a voice sound a certain way, and I'm like, yeah, you hear it though? Do you hear it? And then they start to understand why I do it. But I mean,
that's the magic, right? The magic is when they don't notice and they just go, "What? It sounds fine." You put hours of work in, and they're like, "What?" I have to do it too. You kind of almost have to manually normalize certain sections. Bring up a vocal here, bring it down here. If someone like me, I'm a loudmouth. I ramble on and on and on, then I get real loud, and my
yeah,
stuff will blow
but
out the limiter.
that's the whole personality you're giving the listener. Right? You're giving them like, everything that they want to hear. That's why they tune in to listen, right?
I hope, I hope and pray they do. I sometimes I feel like I'm driving them crazy. That's one of the things I was thinking, man, earlier when you invited me on. I was like, man, you've been doing it such a long time, and I have my little route coming into the game, like I mentioned, the pirate radio and the recording studios, and being an artist and all that. And I also did a podcast called the Cat Control Radio, where it was half hip hop, half heavy metal, and
Nice.
we did like an odd couple thing, where it was like, hey, look, you're so sideways from me. Let's get together, because every time I get with you, I learn some shit about heavy metal that I didn't know before, and every time I get with you, I'm schooling you on this hip hop. So
Yeah.
let's do this weird podcast where people are forced to listen to both, and
Yeah.
we got a lot of like love for doing that, a lot of rap rock groups would come, a lot of groups that just had, amazing, we got a lot of love for doing that. But I thought of you because I'm like, man, you've been doing it. I could have swore I heard you on the show say you were doing it like 12 years. Is that right? 15
Well, it's
years?
2012, so it's
Okay.
one. So that would be 12, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 10 years?
Wow. Okay. There you go. So that's a decade at it.
Yeah.
You know what they say is you have to put 10 years in to be successful at anything, right? So you're at the point now where you're about to blow,
I mean, I've got like no bullshit. I have a crowd. It's about 600 plus every time. I don't know why the fuck they listen. I'm not gonna lie.
Shout out to the
How the fuck
600.
you guys like this shit so much, man? Thank you, though.
We love those motherfuckers. That's why.
And that's what it's been like, right? Like just me, this whole journey getting to this point where I'm able to tell anybody I can get any audio you want. I can send it to you. You can send me audio. I can play audio in any format. And that took me the longest, I think, out of the whole like journey from where I started. Because to get back on my story, so basically, I was all right. So it was about iPhone rumors, and I had a bunch of little zingers at the beginning and the little radio thing go, "Beep, beep, beep, beep. You're tuned into Awesome Radio," blah, right? All this shit. And like that right there, it's funny because how I got it to all work was one day I went on this like free website that had a bunch of like free loops, right? But like you had to give them like all of your stuff plus your firstborn to get it for free. And I'm like, fuck it, I don't care at this point. Like, I don't care. It's all fake news anyway, so let's move on. And I got there and I started getting the loops and I'm like, oop, I'm taking that one. And then I'm just like, bro, I must have downloaded like 100 different things. And then after like getting all these loops and getting all this shit, I found the ones I finally wanted and I created that intro. And then there was this like vocal changer for your voice to make you sound like that robotic kind of sound, right? So I was like, fuck, I need that shit. So I put it on and it worked. And I'm like, oh my God, shit worked. And I was like, it's like listening to Awesome Radio and it fucking plays and it does this thing and there's this little rumble and I'm like, oh my God, fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I got it to work and it was cool for a lot of years. And then I had it all on an external hard drive. That hard drive died. I couldn't recoup it. I took it to this computer guy. He found about half of what was on the drive. The other half was just dead. So the original recordings of mine, before I even had them, because I used to use this thing, what was it called back then? Fuck. It was like simple cast or some weird shit like that. And basically it allowed you to go live. You paid like, I think it was $8 a month, right? And you went live on this and people could hear audio. And if you had the video set up, obviously, you know, you could do the video setup, but I only had audio. So I was like, I'm just going to, you know, I'm streaming this audio. And then one day, my buddy Mitchell comes over. Mitchell, shout out, bro. It's my dog, man. So Mitchell, he's a performer, man. R&B guy, super fucking dope, right? So me and him started working together. I was producing tracks, mediocre ones to say the least, but they were my tracks and I loved them. And I don't care if anybody doesn't like it.
A face only a mother could love.
Right. It's just for me, but they were pretty decent. So he started singing and he made a track. He took one of my you know, instrumentals and he laid it down at his house, put it all together, brought it in one day. And he's like, bro, were you playing my song on your show? And I was like, all right, but it has nothing to do with music, but okay, I'll do it, you know? So this was, I want to say about 2 years after being, you know, just doing that technology shit. And it's like, I think early 2014, and I play the song, and the song's like 2 minutes and change. I think almost 3 minutes. And when it was over, you know, I had this little thing where you could leave a comment and I could check it later. So the people that were in the chat, right, because they gave you everything, like you stream to their site and they had a chat and you just do your thing. So I'm in the chat and I'm looking through it all and then I'm seeing people saying, hey, who's that guy? Who's that dude that was singing? That's a cool song. Are you gonna play songs? And I had an email at that time, a Gmail, obviously, because I couldn't afford my own email yet. And you know, I get an email from this dude and he's like, bro, you should play music, man. I love that shit. And I was like, fuck, okay. So shortly after that, right, I go to do my next show. And before I even go live, it's like maybe, I want to say 4 hours before it, I get it hit up on Twitter. And it's this group that's out of Wisconsin. And they're like, hey, we want to come on your show. They're called the Wisco Boys. Look them up. They're still around. Fucking dope as fuck. Wisconsin. Never thought.
The Wisco Boys.
From Wisconsin. But they're called the Wisco Boys. And these dudes, I mean, really could spit bars. It was Midwestern as fuck. It was like listening to Kanye in his like infancy. And they're like, hey, man, do you do interviews? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, but is it about technology? And the guy's like, oh, like it isn't music? And apparently he listened to the show and thought it was about music.
Wow.
So I was like, make it happen. So back then,
And then you were blessed with your gift.
and then that was it, right? So I interviewed these guys, and from that day forward, right, it was March 23rd. From March 23rd, 2014 on, I Noslin Radio was a hip hop podcast, and it grew into what it is now after all these years of me struggling with understanding how audio works, struggling with you know, how to use the programs and make them all sync up and get to where I'm at now, right?
I mean, that's great. You gave a great tip. You said spare no expense on your equipment. You did that wasn't those weren't your words exactly, but you said buy the most expensive microphone you can, and that's one of those things where a lot of people cut corners. I was having this conversation with someone, I won't say his name, but it was like, I explained a piece of equipment and they were like, what's the point? And what do you mean? And I was like, you don't understand. There's a reason you see Amy Winehouse recording with this, Whitney Houston, your favorite rappers, even, the ones that when you really hear their album, you're like, what makes that album different? Why do the vocals stand out so much on a Nas record?
Yeah.
Nas being the number one hip hop artist of all time. He's the number one selling rapper of all time. He sold the most, more than, I believe he beat Elvis's record for sales, if I'm
Yeah, we were
mistaken.
talking about that shit the other day on Insta.
You know what I mean? Wow, bro. So when you look at the mics they're recording on Neumann microphones into these impressive compression and vocal chains, with gates, limiters, and whatnot. So that's why I was curious, because you mentioned a Shure microphone earlier that you're working with, and I told you that one's a very forgiving microphone. It does its job so damn well. So I was curious because it sounds like you run everything straight in, and then you dump it down digital, and from there you do your audio processing. So there's no, like me, I have a vocal chain back here. I got compressors, gates, limiters. So usually I run my shit through there. Right now I'm just running it through a compression chain, and I've got a light little EQ on it. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
keeping it simple on this side of the room. But that's just one of those
But
things that I
again,
always
look
am
at everything.
curious about.
This great mixer in front of you, right? That you can pretty much figure out where you want your audio to go, how loud it could be, right? You could turn yourself down and turn up the music. You could individually track out whatever you want, right? And those kind of things is like what I try and tell people. Like, if you really want to record good product, you have to invest in what it is, right? You have to believe that because you spent this money, it's going to sound better. It does sound better. Is your show going to be good? I can't guarantee that.
Right.
But can I tell you that you're going to sound fucking amazing? Hell yeah. I could go in there and tweak that shit and like show you, like, here, bro, this is the level.
Yeah.
I know, because of all the years of me like bashing my head into all the equipment until I finally learned it,
I could tell, bro. Your stuff sounds really top. And it's your approach too. A part of it is you. You have a flow. You guide your guests through. You're like a Sherpa, taking somebody to the top of the mountain. All right, guys, we got to make that left up here.
Yeah, I'm like their fucking their travel guide. I'm just like taking them through the mountains. And over here, you're gonna see this amazing balancing rock.
Noslin Bourdain.
Exactly.
We're gonna stop over here and get some pho.
Exactly, bro. You know what? I would love to go do that. I'll drink pho any night.
Been dreaming about some lately.
It's fire, bro. There's a spot here in Tampa. It's called Tin On. And these dudes, oof, boy, every time I go there, it's fire, bro.
Tops.
I get the pho Thai, which is basically the shaved thin beef in the broth, and then give you the mint, the freaking what the fuck is that shit called? The bean sprout. Fuck, the little white.
Yeah.
All that shit. And then
I want to say Brussels sprouts for some reason.
No, it's a bean sprout.
It's not. Yeah.
White looking.
They're thicker and bigger. Yeah, they're a little bigger.
Bean sprout. That's what she told me. I'm sticking with it.
I think it is a bean sprout. You're right.
Yeah. So the other part is all those other leaves and shit. I don't know what the fuck they are, but you put them in that soup, and it's like heaven, bro.
Amazing, dude. I love that shit, bro. And I recently found this. I've always had like soups and Asian food all my life, but the whole experience of sitting down, turning on a hot pot, dumping your, in the order you want it to go in, putting the spice in, oh man, love it, man.
It's good shit. I mean, if you can make one at home, it takes a long time, like 2 days to make it, but if you do it right, man, the soup is
They
just...
put that bok choy in there and a few other things, oh man, stop.
I mean, yeah, it depends on where you go too. Like I think every Vietnamese like restaurant has their own little twist, but
yeah,
the main key ingredients like the ginger, the mint and all those other flavors that you get from, the soup is just amazing, dude. I don't even know. Look at this, man. We're talking about food. So you got Orlando Cats. If you're in Tampa, just know.
Yeah, right. Hey, I need to know. It's a 2-hour drive to Good Eats, man. You can't beat that,
Bro,
can't beat that.
We used to go to Orlando for this like little steak spot off of right on International there. I took my now ex, sorry, but when me and her were together, we would fucking ride all the way out to fucking Orlando to this fucking steak spot just to fucking eat the steak there because it was so good. And
yeah, I drive. I think I know the spot you're talking about. I can't think of the name, bro, but they got
either right now. I just know it's on International.
Yes.
And matter of fact, it was across the street from that water park that used to be there. Remember?
Bro, they got the bomb ass steaks there, bro. You gotta stop right now.
So good, bro. So good. But all right.
What the hell's the name of that spot, man?
I can't even remember right now.
So good, bro. I know exactly what you're talking about, bro. They're legendary. Are they still there? Yo.
They might be. I mean, this was years ago when I went, but just think we used to drive out there, bro. Because like my girl was like, babe, let's go do steaks, but I want the Orlando ones. And I'm like, fuck.
Damn it, I gotta drive. Fuck.
So it would cost me like the gas to get out there, plus the meal, and dessert and shit.
Yeah. Damn, bro. You made me man.
Night, you take them somewhere else, Although she's been there before and it was
fun spot.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but shit. Fuck, man. Before we like even complete the show tonight, dude, I got one last song I want to play for everybody.
Okay. I'm loving it. DJ Noslin.
I know, bro. I should have did that shit too. This one's from somebody that I talked about earlier too. His name is Asaru. Local dude here in Tampa. Another transplant from up north. Shout out to the New York heads for making always dope MCs. But this gentleman's name is Asaru. And this is off his latest release, All Praises Due, the title track. All Praises Due off that album. Here we go. Asaru and All Praises Due.
Asaru.
Back to the top floor, I catch the rock ball, searching back when it pop off. You off your high chair, getting rocked and then dropped off. Lead the boy red, man, I'm funk doc if I die ball. Oh, that's great. The type leaving you lockjaw. You know them rap lines we get together in mosh for? If I keep my grind, well, why should it stop? Yours ain't close to my prime yet, but still take Autobot form. Somebody feel praying for you during these times. I told y'all at 17 it's time to bury the swine. But hey, what can I say? Cause the truth is going hurt. They profit off Black Death, yeah, COVID is covert. To build their empires, they plow with your own turf. I'm known as the star seed, empowered through soul search. Hold up. What you mean? You know what we all came to do. Glory to the Most High, all praises due. Hell yeah, heard they calling them to come back. Baby face, rockin' Tommy here, rock rack. Don't come in, you gotta love that.
I love this song because he fucking hits references from like when I was a jit. The Transformers one, he uses Redman. He hits him with the Rugrats, the show The Rugrats, you know what I'm saying? Turn the shit back.
Just that beat alone is hitting you with a throwback. That whole, what is that, the Arrest the President break? Bro, come on, man.
Yeah,
stop. Bro. And then he has oh man, who am I thinking of? There's a play. Give me a little more.
Here, let's listen to this part.
Never knowing if it's anger, resentment, or hatred. Maybe it's all of them, an alien channeling spaceships. How I'm supposed to live and be a voice for these millions of faces. Tell me that. I'm just reading them off. Years of trauma that somehow I would keep in the dark. I felt the presence of someone hitting deep in the fog. Come to find out the only thing that I needed was God. Hell yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yo, do you remember Funk Dubious?
Yes.
So he kind of, like his voice is in that sort of pocket where he could be doing some, like, if he put a little more comedy mixed in with that, because he does it sounds like he's doing some real shit. Like that track has some realness to it,
So if we're gonna talk about the Funk Dubious, he sounds like the lead singer. What the fuck was the name of that guy?
Sun Dubious, right? It was
Sun Doobie. Yeah, Sun Doobie. Sun Doobie, that kid right there. Like, you heard him rap, and you knew he was from LA, but he had that flow. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, bro. And
flavor. And this dude has that kind of style where he like changes the octave in his voice a few times to set a point, right? Or explain exactly what he wanted to say, right? So like, when he was talking about like something religious, right? He didn't make it so like religious-y. He's like, I seen the ops in the fog, but really all I needed was God. You know what I'm saying? Like he's talking about the streets, but comparing it to religion.
I can tell, bro, there's some real shit going on there with this guy, bro.
Yeah. Sick shit like that. But he's got, I got one more. Hold on. I got one more. This one, I'm going to play it. It's called Dreiser Loop. If you're from New York.
Okay.
And you know the area, you know where Dreiser Loop is, okay? So this is for all my New York heads
New York City.
This one's called Dreiser Loop, and it's from Asaru as well. And Frankie, you're gonna when I play this song and you hear the sample, you'll understand exactly why I love it so much. Okay, check this out.
All right, I'm willing. Let's go.
Here we go.
New York City.
Let that break. And that one. Yeah. Rolling with this one. Rolling with this one. And that one. Spitting out raps for fun. I said it straight. Your lack of O's got me like LMA. The type to be in Pelham Bay, changed with an LMA. I like a good attention span, a mind that never strays. We probably build, then I tell about my better days. Way back when Christmases used to be rather merry. And building Neighbor Foster's home was imaginary.
All right, so I'm going to turn this down a little bit because I want to jump in here and talk about this song because I said earlier we needed to talk about music, and this is the real chance here. So there's a lot going on in this song that people are not realizing. First one is the sample that you're hearing is fucking Raekwon, okay? And if you listen to a specific song that he has, let's start it like this, son, and that, son, pulling out gats for fun is the actual line. And it was off the Wu-Tang album, the original one, 36 Chambers, if you guys are wondering. But what he did was he took the sample, or the dude that actually produced this song. I remember trying to get, because I'm a nerd, and I was trying to figure out, like, yo, who produced this shit? And I was trying to ask Asaru, because I seen him at a show, and he was there, and I'm like, yo, you got to tell me about this shit. And he's like, bro, he's like, yeah, man, that was my guy, this, and that. And it was trippy, man, because we made it work. He's like, we made it work because we actually took the original song and we took it to this engineer guy, and he like cut out a bunch of the sounds and only left those little that little rolling bell sound and the let's start it with this one and that one. You know what I'm saying? Like that little clip.
Filtered it.
They made it, and then he put his own beat. Obviously, this isn't the original beat, clearly, but the fact that they made it match up to a different beat and made it sound this good is why I say hip hop isn't dead. It's just young again, and it's like figuring new shit out, right? Because the hip hop that we grew up on, right, the golden era hip hop, you know, 90s, 2000s, right? Early 2000s, because mid 2000s wasn't really. It was okay. I'm not gonna hate on the 20.
Yeah, I agree with
Gonna
you.
hate on the 2010s, but anything prior to that, right? And then 90s to like 2000. I want to say 2005 to like from like 1990 to 2005 is what I call the golden era of hip hop, right? The individuality of who you were, right? You know, because you had to be different because there was so many MCs, but you had to make yourself be individual ways, which is why when you brought up that part about how, you know, DOS Effects was their own skit, it's because they had to make themselves sound that much different than everyone else around them. I mean, Diff Squad was
Yeah,
big
yeah.
crew. You know, they had Keith Murray, they had EPMD, okay, they had K Solo. These are hard hitting MCs. You had to make yourself stand out from this group of people.
And they had hard hitting producers in the crew
Oh,
too.
Eric Sermon.
Oof, yeah.
Eric Sermon, one of the best to do it. Okay. Right. So, and then think about that mixed in with all them dudes, Premier, you know,
All that influence around them, yeah, for sure.
you know what I'm saying? All these dudes, they were listening to Guru. Imagine growing up and Guru's like who you're growing up with, and you're an MC and you're trying to like get to that level, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was there, man. I was there for
Yeah.
a lot of that, bro. And that was a it
Out of
was
those,
a very
yeah,
high bar. The bar was set high, you know.
shit, bro.
It
I don't.
really was.
That's why
Yo,
I
what was your no, what was your boy's name? You said Asiru, right? What was it?
Saru, AS.
Asaru. Okay. You know, one thing I would say is this, right? Because you're telling me he's pulling samples from Raekwon and from like, you know, the older era, and I hear that in the music, you know. And here's the one critique I'll give, because I love that dude's voice. His voice is fucking phenomenal, right? But if I'm listening to the mix on the bass line, he needs to work on smoothing out his bass lines a little bit, because I could hear that they're really sampling. That they're actually sampling. And what happens is, you know, when you get that, you get like a crunch when you sample where everything kind of just, you know, so that's what I'm hearing there. And that reminds me of 90s shit. So I don't know if that's on purpose because they're trying to make it sound like boutique
You
music.
know, they're probably using, or I'm sure these guys. I haven't been in their studio, but I'm almost 100% sure that whatever they're using is probably some equipment from that era.
Right.
Specifically
Okay.
sampling
Okay.
machine.
That makes sense.
I want to say older MPC. And this is my take from listening to it because I can hear what you're saying. I would say older series MPC, probably one of the first digital converted ones. And one thing that I know about those older machines is that plug on the back of it that converts it from the analog to the digital wears out.
Oh
And
yeah.
after a while, like you said, remember in the old Synthes, they would lose that. Well, in the newer digital ones, the socket for the cable that would send the signal would wear out after time. You know, plugging it in, taking it out.
And the older shit wasn't good at doing bass, man. You know, like if you
No.
ever listen to the way RZA says, he goes, "I do my bass on Novation." So you would see that he has a MPC, a SP12, a Roland, and then he'd have a Novation bass station. So that tells you something there. Most guys buy an MP, try to do everything on the MP. I did it. I'm guilty. I sat there and tried to do my bass lines on it and crunch all the samples in. And you got all this like 16-bit crunch just coming out of one cable coming out the back like you were talking. It's not, you know, it's not going to have that sonic smoothness that it needs, you know. I would personally take the bass on that track, filter it, and then go in and take that out and resample it and turn it into a smoother bass line. Put that shit back in, and that shit will just be like, oh, you know, if it'll play in the car, and you'll be like, oh, god damn, you know.
Sorrow your way. I'm gonna be like, yo, Saru.
Yo, I like him, bro. I like him. That dude's voice is special. That dude's voice is fucking special, bro. When he speaks, you're like, oh, let me hold up. What? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? You know, you listen, you get off your chair, and you're like, oh, I gotta listen. This fucking guy saying some shit, you know.
Hell yeah.
That was fire, bro.
Bro, he really is. Well, shit, man. Before I lose my train of thought here, let's get to the end of the show here, ladies.
Yeah.
It's super late night tonight. For all the heads that showed up tonight, thank you. You're fucking amazing. I can't believe it. I'm gonna end the show with one last track. This one is going out to the homie Am I Am.
Oof.
because I need to make sure I show this man some love and give him his flowers. I'm gonna put some of his this one's off of the Combine album, the Combine. This song is called Listen Up. And this is a local cat, Am, right out of Orlando. I've actually met this kid in person, got to talk to him, got to see him B-boy. Because I did catch your guys' interview. Don't think I didn't watch that shit. So I got to catch it, and you were talking about how him being a B-boy. He actually did it at the show that he did in Tampa, at Shuffle, matter of fact.
Oh man, great show.
I'll have him tell you that story. But we're gonna get into this track right here. This is gonna end the show. For everybody that tuned in, you know where to check us out on Twitter at The Real Noslin, on Instagram at The Real Noslin. You want to check the show out, it's Zero Seat Media on Instagram. And of course, if you go over to to Twitter, it's Core Culture Pod, Pod. And you can definitely find me there. Frankie, where can they find you, bro?
My brother Noslin, thank you so much, man. They could find me at Frankie Hovers everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, all the places. We also go by the Flying Junkies. Big shout out to my drone crew, the original Flying Junkies family. You can check us out at facebook.com/Flying Junkies. And big shout out to the Core Culture Podcast, man. This has been fucking amazing, dog. I can't wait to do it again, bro. We rumble in the jungle, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like-minded spirits, man. Great energy tonight, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on. It's definitely been a pleasure. I'm gonna play this last track, and then we'll say our goodbyes. So let's get into it. Here we go. This one's Listen Up. Am off the Combine album. Go get that shit right now.
Shout out Am,
baby.
You're listening to the Core Culture Podcast.
What up, Tim? It's been long awaited. May I have your attention, please? Welcome y'all to my seminar. Get involved. I control the mic temp on the MPC. Now we gon' touch upon what's going wrong. I'm telling y'all. See, I've been advised to revise your plans. Like as long as songs got lyrics, then you got no chance. Most of y'all ain't voted on. Like look, mine no hands. Only using thoughts to do it, so you put no thought into it. I don't know why you ought to do it. How you got those fans? Only with a skinny pants, saying macho dance. Quicker than macho hands. Transition hand to pass to the pad just as fast as hands spitting. Stop deceiving. I know you're receiving transmission. Disregard. I got more hard bars than San Quentin. Add rhythm, kicking vivid lyrics, but you hear it timid. Living it like if you need to have permission. Looking for money. The funny thing that my hand is itching. There's no question that this game has got the answer missing. If hip hop was dead in your head, then it has risen. Take a stand to the man and demand you listen. Listen up.
All right, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. Remember, every first and third Sunday of the month, we go live for the Core Culture Podcast. I will always be there for you guys like you've been there for me, so just know we're going to end the show with this. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, man. Love all of you guys. Take it easy. Peace. And done. All right, so I didn't really get everything recorded that me and you had. Hopefully you did on your end.
I think I got it. I'm going to tell you right now. Let me kill this real quick.
Because we talked